Hello, everybody. I'd like to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, the Transgender Center of the Rockies, a program of Mile High Behavioral Healthcare. They are this season's Authenticity Ambassador, and we thank them for their support. I would also like to thank James Gaumer with Incite to Massage for being this episode's Authenticity Advocate. Thank you so much for your support. Check them out at incitetomassage.clinicsense.com. Welcome to Being You, an SPH Productions presentation. My name is Shane Hodges, licensed professional counselor and author of It's Time to Be You, How to Become Your Most Authentic Self. Today's guest is Cody Moore, an award-winning go-go dancer, performer, and former adult film personality. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
How's it going today?
It's going great.
Excellent.
Lovely to be here.
I am happy to have you, and I start off with a rapid-fire Q&A. So I'm going to go through several questions. We're going to see how many we get through in 60 seconds.
All right.
So basically, first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Okay. Go ahead.
Where were you born?
Eugene, Oregon.
Favorite place to dance?
Right now, it's Hydrate Nightclub. Love it.
Where's that?
In Chicago, Illinois.
Okay. First guy crush?
Ooh, Jeremy Sumpter. He played Peter Pan. I was very young. Great movie.
Favorite toy?
What kind of toy?
Exactly. Morning person or night owl?
Oh, night owl, for sure.
Best gay movie?
Oh, Not Another Gay Movie is really hilarious. But, oh, God. I'm gonna have to go with that one. I love good satire.
Okay.
That was hilarious.
The most famous person you've met?
Well, recently it was Joe Dombrowski. That was pretty fun.
Nice.
But I have met Vanessa Hudgens
Oh, nice.
recently.
All right.
Recently.
Can you change a tire?
Not confidently.
Dream job or gig?
Dream gig, EDC.
Unfinished bucket list item?
Skydiving.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Dream car?
Oh, I loved my red Jeep Renegade. That was kind of a one with all the bells and whistles. That was great. Leather
Nice.
seats. Ooh, yeah.
Nice.
Mhm.
Nice. All right. Well, that was just over a minute, and I think we got through about 11.
11?
So, yes,
Okay.
not too shabby.
Not bad.
Well, let's get to know a little bit more about what you do. So, you've been a go-go dancer for many years.
Mhm.
What's that like, and what do you enjoy about it?
Oh, yeah, it's been almost 9 years now. Oh, actually, I think pushing past nine, almost 10.
Hmm.
I love it. I've been a dancer since I was a teenager. I used to do competitive hip hop, some lyrical, ballet, jazz in a studio. And when you're the
Wow.
only boy in a studio, they really utilize you.
Ah,
So I got a lot of experience through that, and it has carried over into this career.
so you mentioned studios and different types of dance.
Mm.
Is there a type of dance that you prefer? Is your favorite?
I mean, I love the hip hop. I think it translates really well, and it just looks cool. And I love hip hop music like
Nice.
a lot, so I would prefer that. But I mean, the lyrical was always a close second
Hmm.
because it's just so expressive and it goes with the song itself. I definitely do a crossover of that when I'm
Nice.
go-going a little bit.
Now I have to ask because, as you know, I was a go-go dancer as well.
Yes.
What's hard to dance to?
Oh my God. Anything slow and melodic. I've been hired for some gigs where the DJ is very trancy, and that's
Hmm.
fine, but just keep the beat up, just
Yeah,
keep going. Just get them
yeah,
moving,
yeah. Have a
that's
little
really
speed.
hard. Anything with long breaks in it too, like just it's really tough to do that.
Hmm.
And if you don't hear anything, it's like, well, I
Yeah,
have to make this look great for the crowd because they're
exactly.
looking at you, right?
I always
So,
struggled with the long or not good transitions.
right, tough transitions are hard.
I was like, get to it.
Absolutely.
So, in terms of doing go-go, how did you get started?
Great question. Okay, so I turned 21 in Denver, Colorado,
Hmm.
and there's this lovely bar called Tracks. I'm sure
Hmm.
you've heard of it. And when my birthday is around Halloween, so
Okay.
my friends took me for my birthday out to their Halloween celebration that they had. This would have been about 2017.
Okay.
And all I did was look up at the guy dancing up there, and I just said to myself, I was like, I want to do that. That looks like so much fun.
Hmm.
I want to do that. And I auditioned a month later and got the job by January.
Nice.
So,
Very cool. How long
good.
did you dance at track?
5 years. Five
Wow. Okay.
years. Yeah. And I played a lot of roles when I was there,
Hmm.
but the dancing was always something that I did.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, other than tracks, what are some of your favorite venues that you've danced in?
Okay. Some of 'em, I've recently been doing kind of circuit parties
Okay.
too, just a couple, Purple Party on the
Mm-hmm.
regular. So dancing in Dallas is super fun, super great crowd. In Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
I danced for a party called Circuit Mom. And
Oh.
they rent out this big space called Aragon Ballroom, and they have this huge stage set up, and it is a massive, wonderful production with like backup dancers for drag queens and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
they outfit us and everything, and it's just such a
Nice.
wonderful, magical, cool experience.
Mm-hmm.
Such high production value. That has to be one of my top three. The second one is Radius in Chicago. This last
Mm-hmm.
year, I danced for the Meat Party. And
Okay.
so that's just another really high production value
Mm.
circuit moment. And then outside on the stage during market days, since I work for Hydrate, we have the Hydrate stage.
Ah, okay.
And that one is just in the middle of the street. It's so hot out there. This last year was 90 degrees, 100% humidity.
Mhm.
And I mean, they have me in full outfits. I mean, like spikes on my head,
It's
all
in the
this
middle
stuff.
of summer, right?
It's in the
In
middle
Chicago.
it's in August. But I mean, that experience is just so magical. Just
Hmm.
really, just the production value alone just makes it. I feel so honored to be
Nice.
chosen for something like that, and I work my heart out and just, it's
That's very
those are some
cool.
of my favorites right there.
I also mentioned you were previously an adult film performer.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that?
What a cool industry. It's the people you meet, the people who
Mm-hmm.
do it. I think it takes a certain type of person, a certain type of personality to really make that and sell it on camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot harder than people think. I mean, for a 20-minute video, you're filming 3 hours, four
Oh,
hours
wow, yeah.
sometimes. And the people that I've had the pleasure of working with in that have been nothing short of incredible. They made it so easy for me. We
Mm-hmm.
played off each other. The chemistry was there,
Mm-hmm.
and that really translated to some great work done, and I'd do it again.
Nice,
I'd
nice.
definitely do it again.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions about individuals in that industry?
Ah, a lot of times I'd say they dehumanize us. They buy the fantasy, which is great. But at the end of the day, we're all just sexy, great
Mm-hmm.
people sharing that on camera with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest misconception is just the idea of who we are. It's like, come meet us. We're
Mm-hmm.
pretty great. I,
And excuse the pun, but what would you say is the hardest part of being in an adult film or in that industry?
Maybe that I'll probably never work in politics, but but
Well,
and
at
I,
this point.
you never know. Maybe it could be me who changes the
All
world. Who
right.
knows?
Well, what would you like to share about other work or projects that you have been or are currently involved in?
Yeah. After 10 years almost of doing this, I'm doing a lot of bigger events now. So that's super fun and I love those. All of my stuff will be on my social medias when people
Hmm.
can find me and everything, but I've recently pivoted a little and transitioned into massage therapy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing that in the next year.
And are you doing a program? Are you going into or want to focus on a certain type or style of massage?
No, the program that I'm in right now will wrap up in a few months. I'd like to just get working in the industry. I have a few interests
Hmm.
as well. Maybe I was going to throw on a physical training part of that as
Nice.
well, just for the knowledge
Hmm.
and then working with people.
So, what brought that about? How did you decide to add that to your list?
So after being on some of those big stages
Mhm.
this year, I felt pretty accomplished. I felt like I had climbed my Mount Everest and it's lovely up here. Beautiful scenery. And so I was
Nice.
like, okay, let's find another project, something great to work on. And this is something that just felt easy.
Hmm.
It felt like there was no hesitation to it, which a lot of other things I'd considered felt very much how it felt scary to transition to, right?
Okay.
It's hard to choose a new career, it is.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
this one felt like, oh, I could do that any day. And I just say I'm doing pretty damn well.
I like that you said, I've climbed Mount Everest and it's pretty nice up here.
Hmm.
Looking back so far, what are you most proud of, or what has been to you the biggest achievement?
That award I won for Best Go-Go of the Year in Colorado was a big one. But the biggest one this year was getting booked for Circuit Mom. I think that was a really good one
Very
for
cool.
me. Very big circuit party all weekend. It was great.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Now let's get a little more personal. Where did you grow up?
Eugene, Oregon, which is about 200,000 person town now,
Okay.
home of the Oregon Ducks, college town,
Ah,
and
okay.
that was great. Very rainy in the Pacific
Hmm.
Northwest, but you know, I have tons of beautiful coats as a result. So there's a plus there.
So, with the being a college town, what's the influx of students during the college year or school year?
A lot of them. That's a big campus, so I think it brings in about 30,000.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. I've had some clients who have considered going. So
Mhm.
now you grew up in Oregon. What are your ties to Denver?
Denver. So my mom's side of the family is
Okay.
from here. I grew up coming here a lot as a kid as our vacation spot. They've got
Gotcha.
Elitch Gardens downtown, Water World, all this fun
Hmm.
stuff. So we'd always load up the family in our minivan and we would drive all the way halfway across the country
Hmm.
and come hang out with our grandparents for half the year or for half summer. A good
Gotcha.
6 weeks. We'd give
Nice.
it, really, really have a good time.
And then you lived here for a while.
I did.
How long?
I lived here about 8 years.
Okay. And now in Chicago.
I'm now in Chicago for 2.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you like it?
I love it.
So, what was little Cody like?
Little Cody. Oh, I'm sure my parents would tell you that I was a little rascal.
I'm shocked.
I was very wiggly, as they like to say. I never stopped moving. Never
Hmm.
stopped moving. I think that's why they got me into dance
Hmm.
and all that stuff. They really needed me to get my energy
How
up.
old were you when you got into dance the first time?
The very first time, about 12,
Okay.
12 years
All
old.
right.
Yeah.
And was it through school? Was it through a studio?
No, private studios in my hometown. All that dance company, especially, shout out to them. And my mother pushed me. She tried to get me to tap, but I refused that one. So we just stuck with the
Ballet.
ballet, the lyrical, and the hip hop. And I really liked the hip hop. Had some
Nice.
great instructors around that.
And now, since then, have you ever gone back and tried tap?
Oh, it's not for me. Yes, I have, and it is not for me. It is
Okay.
not for me. I appreciate the technique, but it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this
Hmm.
is not where my skills lie.
Yeah. So, what would you say to that 12-year-old version of yourself now?
I would say to him, don't worry. Don't worry what they say or what they think, and
Mm.
follow your heart. It really knows what you want to do. It really is going to lead you down a path that is going to make you much happier. So follow that.
What do you think you realized that?
Pretty early on,
Mm,
actually.
that's good.
I think I started checking in with myself as early as 15.
Okay.
Had a lot of time on my hands because my parents moved out to the country. So there's a lot of quiet nature around me. And I
Hmm.
started getting really introspective around that time, really thinking about my life and what I wanted it to look like. And it seems very young to do so. And I mean, I didn't have all the answers even then. But it was really nice to just kind of be like, okay, what do I want? Like, what,
Hmm.
what makes me actually happy? What works for me and what doesn't? And checking in that early, I think, set me up for much better adulthood.
I appreciate that you acknowledge that that's fairly young for that to happen,
It
and
is.
and I work with adolescents. I have seen some clients that are able to do that. How did you go about doing
I think it was just a lot of free time I had, but also there were a lot, my childhood was interesting, mixed, some good parts, some bad. And so I was left a lot to myself to do a lot of thinking. And I kind of got into religions a little bit
that?
when I was younger. Skipped the Christianity because I had already grown up with Christian
Okay.
influence, so I was
Hmm.
pretty familiar with that. But I think I got into Buddhism at one point,
Okay.
and so they talk about a lot about meditation
Hmm.
and emptiness, but like really just I got a lot of the lessons out of it that were really about introspection, just really
Yeah.
thinking about who you are. And so it kind of set me on a journey to just really come to terms with who I am and who I'm becoming and how that can evolve over
Mm-hmm.
time. The
Yes.
pain that I've experienced, they talk a lot about pain in Buddhism.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how pain is a symptom of really just knowing that you are present on this planet. To suffer is to be alive is a big phrase there, and to really get comfortable with the pain that I have experienced. You know?
You made the comment of, figuring out who you are.
Hmm.
Who are you now? Who is Cody today?
I'd say Cody is kind, very nice. I tend to be magnetic.
Hmm.
You've probably seen
Hmm.
that. And Cody's a lot more reserved than he was these days. I go out a lot less,
Hmm.
tend to let other people, experience me genuinely.
Hmm.
And he can be pretty honest and
Hmm.
authentic. Yeah.
Obviously, the authenticity part is something that I'm big on. That's a big part of what this is all about. You also
Mm.
mentioned honest.
Mm.
What have you encountered with responses to your honesty?
It can be pretty mixed, but I'm okay with that because it's better for me to be honest about how I think and
Mhm.
feel. And in a way, it's more respectful to the person in front of me, and it's more respectful to myself,
Mhm.
allowing, like saying that. It allows for more trust
Mm,
between even a stranger.
yeah,
I'd want people to be honest with me, so I'm treating them the way I'd like to be treated
nice.
most of the time. I do hold my tongue a lot more than younger Cody would have. Definitely my brutal, I wouldn't say quite brutal, but my overt honesty
Mm,
has bit me in the butt a couple of times where it's like, okay, I just didn't need to say that
I
then.
get it.
But I admire that trait about
Hmm.
myself a lot. And it's
Yeah,
something that I will always strive to be, even when it's hard. And it can be hard,
absolutely.
but
Yeah.
it's good.
One of the things you have mentioned, and it shows up in a lot of your socials, you identify as sex positive.
Hmm.
Can you explain what that means to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I've noticed throughout the years, even through all my 20s, I'm 30 now, is that there's a lot of societal shame when it comes around sex. And,
Yes.
I'm not gonna point fingers on where it comes from specifically, but it's been my unofficial mission to kind of deprogram that when I encounter other people who I see express something where they say something about some lewd behavior or something like that. When like life's short, life's so short, and it's much shorter than you ever think it's gonna be,
Mm,
and it flies by as you get older. I mean, you don't want to. I never want to live a life where I think, I wish I had done that. I wish I had
yeah.
experienced this and that. I know that I have the power to say, oh, I'm going to go out and do this
Mhm.
and see what happens. And I meet so many other people that, they say, I wish I did that. I wish I did. And a lot of it,
Mhm.
especially in our community, comes around sex. And they have all of this shame that they carry around sex, and then they
Yes.
tell other people about that shame. And I just kind of feel like that really holds us back from from receiving intimacy,
Hmm.
from receiving any kind of love in certain ways, because it bleeds into a lot of other aspects of our life. And so I consider myself to be sex positive and willing to have the conversation
Hmm.
and really help with, as I said, the deprogramming of
Yeah.
that.
I
It'll be a great thing when we can move past that.
could not agree more.
Mhm.
So, you've always been, and I've always appreciated your authenticity, both in your socials, but also I've known you for a long time. When do you think you became comfortable being your authentic self?
I think that's a journey every day, to be honest. That's
Agreed.
that's a practice. It's a skill that you develop with yourself,
Hmm.
honestly. More and more as I get older, it gets easier every day.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that holds me back from it is just worrying about what other people think, and as I get older, that
Yeah.
just gets so thrown out the window, thank
Hmm.
goodness.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'd like to say now I live fully authentically and complete honesty, but I am a human being, so you know.
I understand, and I say the same thing all the time. I think it is actually a lifelong journey because we evolve, we change, the world around us changes. So,
And sometimes maybe there are things about you that change that you
mhm,
may not feel comfortable sharing all the time,
absolutely.
and you can still live authentically, but holding on to those things
Hmm.
can affect how you operate or how you want people to see
Yeah.
you, which makes it even harder,
Yeah.
right? And so it's
Absolutely.
practice every day.
Well, I did come across one particular post that I wanted to touch on, or it
Mhm.
led to a question. It was about sex education and safe sex. How do you define safe sex practices at this point?
Condoms
Okay.
at this point, and communication with the partner you're going to have
Hmm.
about statuses, anything that
Hmm.
you're going through, and the last time that you got tested. In this regard, I feel knowledge is power when it comes to it,
Yeah.
and you should empower yourself in any way and your partner in any way you can. Just disclosing any information that you feel is relevant. Consensual sex,
Hmm.
I would say, also falls under that. I know consent has been a much bigger thing in the more recent generations, but I
Right.
mean, having that conversation beforehand of just, hey, what are you comfortable with? What are you
Hmm.
uncomfortable with? Creates a much safer, more positive experience in general.
And you touched on this just there with, how things have changed.
Mhm.
You mentioned you just turned 30. I'm about to turn 50. So
Good for you.
big difference. And what I'm wondering is, what are your thoughts on our community's views around sex, safe sex, etc., in your lifetime and how they've evolved?
I have seen quite the evolution in
Mm-hmm.
the last 10, even 15 years. But God, it used to be a little more underground. I'd
Mm-hmm.
say, in a way, like we'd have our clubs and our spaces to do it.
Yep.
I mean, bathhouses were more the norm. We'd have to find ways to get away with it in public. And now, since it's a greater broad conversation, the consent thing's
Mm-hmm.
huge. That's brand new in the last, say, 8 years. And I like people are more talking about sex and as a comfortable conversation, and therefore it's
Yeah.
becoming less of like, oh, I'm doing something wrong, and like more.
Mm.
I think that also has to do with acceptance of gay people in general,
Agreed.
and now that it feels like we have to hide and less risque, that it's becoming even less commonplace to have this hypersexual, societal
Mm-hmm.
norm that we've had in the
Mm-hmm.
gay community. It's becoming more of an intimate thing again. And I think I'm seeing a lot less people really cling to sex culture in general. And like the clubs that I have to dance in that
Mm-hmm.
feature parties like that, I'm seeing less attendance, and
Ah,
even
that's
bathhouses
exciting.
are have less attendance, and I think people are just they really feel like it's more of a normal, comfortable thing now, and they
Mm-hmm.
don't have to go out of their way to seek it.
I also want to ask about a comment you made. You brought up something that I touch on with a lot of my clients. You mentioned the word intimacy.
Mhm.
How do you see sex and intimacy as intertwined and or different?
I think that really depends on the person in front of you. For me, at least, I've always been able to kind of separate the two. I
Mm-hmm.
know there's people they're wired to where they can't separate the two, and all the more power to them. I think that's beautiful as well. In my recent life, I've craved more of the intimate sex side, like
Mm-hmm.
people I really connect with versus just a hookup or anything. I get a lot more out of that now. But I think that they both, depending on who you are, can be separate or very much the same.
Agreed.
And I will also say intimacy itself, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily mean sex. That
Oh,
can be
absolutely.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it could be deep conversations.
Yes.
It's closeness with
Mm-hmm.
people. It's that even, and you can have intimacy in friendships. You can have
Yes.
intimacy in so many different ways that have nothing to do with sex.
Absolutely.
That yes,
I like that you said, you can have
mhm,
it with friends because
you
a lot of people
can.
are like, that's weird. And no, you can. I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? Absolutely, you can.
Oh, I think
So,
intimacy with my friends
mm,
is some of the most beautiful intimacy I've ever had.
hmm,
I love
absolutely.
my friends. I think they're great, and
Absolutely.
it's something that I foster with
Mm.
all my friends. I love that closeness.
Well, in any of the work you do, I wanted to ask, how does self-confidence come into play?
Oh, it's everything. I'm on stage. I'm in the public view.
Hmm.
Everybody in the room can see me. I'm on top of the bar. I'm on top of
Hmm.
the box. Everything that I'm doing is getting watched and scrutinized in
Hmm.
some way. If I don't look confident, if I don't look, and I might not even be feeling confident, but I know how to smile through
And
it.
that's part of what I'm getting at
Yeah.
is, so where are you now in terms of confidence and self?
great. I feel I feel great, especially having embarked on this new journey with the
Mm-hmm.
career. I've always been a confident person.
Mm-hmm.
You've known this about me.
Mm-hmm.
I've always projected confidence at the very least.
Yeah.
Having been trained in the stage since my
Uh-huh.
teenagehood, I know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I feel very comfortable in my skin and have for a long time.
Nice.
Uh, some
I like that
days,
you mentioned projected because
yes. Listen,
again, there's an act
I
at
have my bad
times.
days. I have my days, and of course, I still get nervous to go on stage, and especially with what I do, I'm in front of these beautiful men. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's intimidating, and that's just the job. Like
Yeah.
I'm used to it at this point, and I just remind myself all the time, like I'm chosen to be here.
Mm-hmm.
This they could have hired anyone. I'm chosen to be here, and they chose me for me, also how I look, but actually who I am
Mm-hmm.
as well. And so that gives me so much more confidence when I'm
Nice.
feeling down.
Very cool.
Mhm.
When and how do you feel you started discovering who the real Cody is? Or I perhaps moving away from any aspects of that's not really me.
Mm. In my early 20s, I was, kind of new to the scene and
Mm-hmm.
just starting a career. I definitely said yes to a lot of things that maybe I shouldn't have and was just taking any opportunity that I could. They teach you that in film and television and
Mm-hmm.
theater too. You say yes to things.
Yeah.
And then you start learning like, okay, that wasn't good or this wasn't a great
Mm-hmm.
experience. So I'd say my mid 20s into especially my later 20s, I
Mm-hmm.
started really maybe I'd say stopped people pleasing about it and really said no a lot of things. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll even say no now.
Was that hard for you at first?
Yeah, of course. I didn't want to lose that
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
And but
What
I
was
also,
behind it for you? Because you mentioned the people pleasing thing too.
yeah,
Why was saying no?
people pleasing. I was a people pleaser.
Mhm.
And it was really difficult because I wanted to secure the relationship with the person I was saying no to.
Mhm.
I wanted to maintain that relationship, that professional relationship. I wanted to continue to have that work from them. And, if you keep saying no to somebody, and so I think the way I counteracted that really too was I just ended up being very transparent with them. Like, hey, I have a commitment to this. It's going to be a
Yeah.
little hectic for me, but I might be available for a later opportunity. So,
Nice.
yes,
I often go down the path of it is about communication. It is
absolutely.
how you communicate things. Well, we've talked about honesty, we've talked about authenticity.
Mhm.
This brings to the wow segment of our program, the words of wisdom. I
Mm.
like to ask all of my guests, what advice or words of wisdom do you have regarding being your most authentic self?
Mhm. Trust your gut.
Mm,
Trust your gut. It knows when the person in front of you is being authentic and when you need to be more
mm,
authentic to that person too. And I would also say, like, I don't have it. I would also say that though it's really difficult and it's
mm,
terrifying, because it will be, always be as honest as you can with yourself, especially.
mm.
It's not just about being honest with the person in front of you. You can only be as honest with that person in front of you as long as you be that honest with
Yeah,
yourself. And that is a really hard thing to do. But
absolutely.
it has been the most rewarding journey ever. And I have to remind myself all the time, everybody around me may not be that far with this journey. Everybody comes into it its own time. It's not a
Absolutely.
race. And so I fully understand they can only be as honest with me as they are with themselves too. But if you are always honest with yourself, as hard as it is and as difficult as it is, and it's so easy to run away from it, then you will always be able to be honest with that person in front of you.
Yeah,
So.
amen. Well, what information would you like to share in terms of socials, contact
Yeah.
information, or upcoming things?
Absolutely. All of my upcoming things will always be on my Instagram, which is at Cody Gives More.
Is it spelled your last name?
It is my last name, so two O's and more. Thank you. And I have other links on there in the description should you want to find anything else as well. And that's what I keep updated the most.
Nice.
So people can find me there.
So you just finished Tell Your Right Gay Ski Week. What, if anything, is next
Yes.
coming up?
So my next big thing is going to be Purple Party Dallas in the beginning of May.
I was gonna say it's
Yeah,
always
always around Cinco de Mayo. So I
That's
always
very
forget it's that we're celebrating it down there.
nice.
You don't even notice. But so that's gonna be my next big thing. I got booked for it last year, and then this year gonna be even better. Super fun party
Very cool.
for everyone, and yeah. So
Excellent. Again, thank you so much for being here. I
thank
really
you,
appreciate it. It's
thank
always
you.
good to catch up with you.
Yeah, great to see you.
Again, my name is Shane Hodges, licensed professional counselor, author of It's Time to Be You, How to Become Your Most Authentic Self. Thanks for watching, guys. Be yourselves and have a great day.
Bye.
Thanks again to the Transgender Center of the Rockies for being this season's Authenticity Ambassador. We appreciate all the work you do. Check them out at transgendercenteroftherockies.org.